We live in a whole new world. The digital age has created what I like to call the world of engagement. Passive media is dead. Think about it. Most of us grew up in a passive media era. You consume content from a passive perspective. They control when you get it, and you watch it passively. It's how we all learn to operate, up to the millennials, the mid-millennials. But now we live in a world where engagement is what drives us. Think about it, even now, getting your guys' attention, getting your engagement. You've got devices, you've got information, content going off all the time, right? And you're not gonna pay attention to something that creates a passive engagement. You will only pay attention if it is a direct, immediate engagement. Does it make sense? So, like, for example, look. If I'm trying to do an interview, and I come out here, hi, where are you from?
I'm from Connecticut.
Great, what's your name?
My name's Adam.
Adam, what's Connecticut?
Connecticut.
I am so fucking bored it isn't funny. Hey, let me ask you something. Is it true what they say about Asians and having small,
Well, I don't know, I mean.
Because you don't.
Yeah.
Right. Now we're engaged. Have you ever cheated on somebody?
Yes.
Wow, right now? See, we got engagement just like that, right? That's what the world we live in. You're gonna pay attention to the guy who says, "Well, you ever cheated on?" Whoa, what? We don't care what his name is. We don't care where he's from. We don't care about the whole long backstory. We need to be immediately and actively and continuously engaged. And if we're not, we're gone. We all know it's true. So it's true for all of you and everyone you work with. Let me give you a great story. Years ago, when I was in law school, I was on the President Clinton's national re-election campaign. And I got to spend some time with President Clinton. First time I met him, I'm standing in the room, alone with the President of the United States and the residents. I mean, how cool is that? And this is pre-9/11, so I was actually walking on the big balcony outside the Rose Garden with a Diet Coke, and it's like 10 at night, strolling up and down on the ledge, and I hear this voice above me, and get off the ledge. And I look up and there's a person in black with this giant anti-aircraft gun. And I'm like, whoa, don't shoot. It's a woman, she's like, don't worry, I'm not gonna shoot you, I just don't want you to fall into the Rose Garden. Can you get off the ledge? I'm like, this is cool. Anyway, I meet the president. Funny little story, I tell Bill Clinton, I'm at Stanford Law School. He looks at me and goes, yeah, well, I went to Yale. And I'm like, wow, you're the president, you're trying to one-up me on where you went to law school? Insecurity, my friend. But anyway, that was about the length of our conversation before the president started paying attention to other things. He's a busy guy, a lot on his mind. CNN's going on, he's watching the news. I'm talking to him, and he isn't even listening. He is looking over here. He is all of us. He is so busy doing something else. So I'm like, how do I get the president's attention? He's clearly ignoring me, even though I'm the only one in the room. And I said, you know what? I said, see all those pictures of Kennedy you have on your wall? He just kind of looks over, yeah, he said, I'm a big fan of JFK. Well, I'm Generation X, the beginning. For most of my generation, we think you talk the talk, but you don't walk the walk. And trust me, the president stopped watching CNN. He is like, what? Looked at me, didn't say a word, just gave me that look like, did you just say that to the President of the United States? Because you are a nobody and I'm the President of the United States. Didn't need to say it, just all in the face. And I was like, just saying. Now, what saved me, because when you engage, you never know what you're getting, was that he looked at me, shook his head, and he's like, Chelsea tells me that sometimes. So I was saved by the fact, whenever the kid says what you said, you're in good. But then he looked at me, and this is one of those moments where total unique moment in my life and a total unique engagement moment. He leaned forward, put his finger in my face. Bill Clinton, his face gets red when he's mad. And he goes, you know what? Just because I'm president, it doesn't mean I can do whatever I want. Everybody thinks it's so easy. It's just not that way. And I'll never forget. I had the President of the United States point his finger in my face and yell at me. Special moment. Also a moment of engagement. And my point about engagement is that if we do not engage and continuously engage, we will lose our viewers. We will never keep our viewers, much less get them. Second thing, we live in an age of authenticity. That's also unique for a media age. Never before was authenticity necessary in the media. Most things you saw were fake. Even reality TV was fake, right? We know it's real, but it's not, it's produced. I've hosted reality TV shows. The producers tell people what to do and say. It's produced reality. But now in the digital age, in the age of Instagram, in the age of Facebook, in the age of Snapchat, authenticity is key. If you're not authentic, we will not believe you. Now, there's no better proof of this. I like to call it the age of Trump. Donald Trump, love him or hate him, is an epitome of authenticity in the digital age. He is who he is. We hate him, we love him, but we believe it. We either believe he's going to save the world or destroy it, but we believe that guy. He's tweeting at 6 a.m. in the morning. Nobody's going, he's being fake. They're going, he really did not just tweet that at 6 a.m. in the morning. But he did. He's got no filter. He is who he is. He's a megalomaniac. He thinks he's right about everything. If you read last week, everybody thinks he's going to win a Nobel Prize, and he should. He just says what he thinks. He is who he is. He's ugly, kind of. He's not very attractive on camera, but he works because he's authentic, and we can't stop watching him. And his authenticity really does work. Like it or not, North Korea just released prisoners. The isolated regime is literally offering to denuclearize. How did Donald Trump make that happen? By tweeting nasty things. Little rocket man, I'm gonna bomb you. Well, you know what? North Korea believed he's authentic. They're like, you think he is? He's gonna just wipe us off the map. He doesn't care who else dies. He'll blow up half the world. He's authentic. If you're not authentic, nobody trusts you. Third thing, point of view. Think about this. We think of a point of view as an opinion. It's not. We all have opinions. Everyone in this room could have the same opinion, yet every one of you could have a different point of view. And point of view is what sets you apart. It's what brands you. It's what makes you who you are. It's a result of why you have an opinion. So for example, how many of you believe that Kennedy was killed by a conspiracy? Hands up. How many think he was shot by one person, Lee Harvey Oswald? No, the rest don't care? Don't know? Okay. Well, it's a big, big conspiracy story, right? I think he was killed by a conspiracy. That's an opinion. My point of view is that I actually worked with Joe Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy's oldest son, who was a member of Congress, and asked him one day, do you think your uncle was killed by one man? He's like, absolutely not, as he threw a football over my head at the wall. I'm like, he's like, no one in our family thinks one person killed him. I'm like, how come none of you ever say anything? He's like, what difference would it make? Like, it's done. About 6 months later in law school, I actually had a professor who was the clerk to the Warren Commission, the commission that did the report on the Kennedy assassination. And after class one day, I sat in his office and I asked him, Professor, Eli, do you think what you did in the Warren Commission, concluding one person killed Kennedy, was true? And I expected him to say, of course. And he said, we did what we had to do at the time for the country. Wow. Double confirmation. They all know Kennedy was killed by a conspiracy. So that's a point of view, my reference, my perspective of where I come from. So if you agree that Kennedy was killed by a conspiracy, my point of view informs you in a way that's different than just another opinion. If you disagree, it does the same thing. Having a point of view sets you apart. It defines you in a clutter of information. Second major fundamental shift. We're in a on-camera world. Everything's on camera. Everything you do is on camera. We're on camera wherever we go. But we put ourselves on camera. We live on camera. We're on camera right now. We do it all the time. So the idea that you can be off camera, sure, you can step off the grid if you're determined. But in reality, we're an on-camera world. And what that means is that every single brand, product, service, message, personality, who wants to ultimately get heard, get followed, sell what they're about, get their message, delivered and consumed, has to be willing and ready to move into an on-camera space. Not an on-TV space, on camera, in a digital environment. And that's a huge thing because, think about it, most of us aren't really comfortable with a camera. I'll talk about that in a second. So think that we are all on camera now. So every single one of you, every person on your list, every one of your affiliates, associates, ultimately, in the future, the near future, is going to need to be on because we want a face. Ask anybody who's big in like the Instagram world, people both selling it, marketing it, developing it, and doing it. It's created a personal connection. We want a human connection. Oddly enough, as much as social media has separated us, it's also made us want more. So we want to see a face. We want a face behind everything. 5, 10 years from now, everything's going to have a face. Cars are going to have a human face. They're going to have to, because we trust some weird human connection. It means every one of us has to start being ready to be on camera. Third major shift. Content is second to watchability. This is a tough one for people. Everybody thinks what they have to say is really important. So important. You gotta hear my thing. You gotta hear what I'm about. It's so important. It isn't really. So I can find almost anything I want out there. I don't need to see you interview somebody. I can find what they said. I don't need to hear you do it. I can dig it up. I can see. We believe content is there for us, and there's a cloud of content. It's everywhere on so many platforms with people going, platform ADD. So, actually, what you have to say isn't very important if I don't choose to watch you. If I don't want to watch you first, I'll never hear what you have to say. People really forget that. No, but what I have to say is important. No, it's only important once I decide to watch you. I have to make that choice. Roger Ailes ran Fox News, gave me my first job. Years ago got this. When I went in to get a talk show there, he put my demo tape on and turned the volume off. And I'm like, well, I'm a talk show host. Like, you gotta hear my great ideas. He's like, I don't care what you have to say. If people don't wanna watch you, it won't matter. And he watched me for 2 minutes with no sound. Said, you're watchable. Now I care what you have to say. So that's a fundamental shift for most people, because we honestly think, the only example I can think of where something would be watchable where without anything would be if an alien came to Earth. Because none of us have ever seen an alien, so we'd all watch, like 6 billion people. But if that alien was boring, half of us would be done. I saw the alien last week, I don't need to see him again. You gotta be watchable first. You have to be watchable. So, this is the good news. If you are willing to accept in an on-camera world, and that means that authenticity, engagement, you have to be able to engage, you have to get people to watch you, then you have to engage them to keep them watching you, then you have to be authentic in order for them to trust you, believe you, and you have to have a point of view to set you apart from all the other people who are watchable who say something like you do. You get all those things, you can sell anything.